Okay, 10.2. Card sort, possible or impossible. Your teacher will give you a set of cards that contain a number. Each contain a number. Decide whether each number is possible input for the function described here. Describe whether each number is a possible input for the function described here. Sort the cards into two groups, possible inputs and impossible inputs. Record your sorting decisions. So I'm just going to read through all the situations to make sure it's abundantly clear what they mean by everything and what the inputs are. But if you look on the computer, I'm going to post this on Google Classroom, and I'll show you what it looks like real quick on my phone. It's going to look like this. So these are going to be the possible inputs that you're going to be testing to see, do they make sense for that function? So as you can see, we got a lot of different types of inputs. We got decimals, fractions, whole numbers, zero, negative numbers. So think in real world terms. Do any of these numbers make sense in terms of the problems we've got here? And then you're going to record your answers on Google Classroom. So there'll be 1, A and B, 2, A and B, and then 3, A and B, where I want you to record your answers. So just to go over, just in case there's any confusion about what they're talking about. 1, the area of a square in square centimeters, right, because area is in squared units, is a function of its side length s, which is also in centimeters. The equation area equals side squared defines the function, right? Because you do side times side to get area. So looking at those numbers they put there, what would be a possible number for a side length for a square in centimeters? All right, so that's what you want to do for number 1. Number 2, a tennis camp charges $40 per student for a full day camp. The camp runs only if at least 5 students sign up, and it limits the enrollment to 16 campers per day. So that means we need at least 5, can't be more than 16. The amount of revenue in dollars that the tennis camp collects is a function of the number of students that enroll. The equation revenue equals 40 times the number of students defines the function. So what are possible numbers for amount of campers, and what are impossible numbers for the amount of campers? That's what number 2 is asking. Right. Number 3, the relationship between temperature in Celsius and the temperature in Kelvin can be represented by a function K. All right, Celsius and Kelvin are just 2 different ways that we measure temperature. Not in the U.S., we use Fahrenheit, but elsewhere in the world, and Kelvin really is used for chemistry. So if you take chemistry, either this year, next year, or some later year, you'll definitely be seeing Kelvin. It's a very scientific temperature. All right. So the relationship between these temperatures is, it says that K is the temperature in Kelvin and C is the temperature in Celsius. So it looks like Kelvin depends on Celsius. So Celsius plus 273.15 will get us the amount in Kelvin. So what are possible values for temperature in Celsius? Because C is my input in this situation. All right, so that's really all for 10.2. Record your answers on Google Classroom.